Yeah.
Welcome to the Mukilteo Football Show. My name is Miles.
And my name is Kirk. Welcome to a new season.
The 2025 NFL season. This is a giant shotgun or like a magnum, like Mr. Burns style, has begun.
The race has begun. Yeah. Who will win free agency? Who will be overhyped for until August?
The Bears, like you said, again. Crushing the offseason.
Oh, they got all these offensive linemen. Yeah. Of course they're going to be great again. Yeah. For the third year in a row.
Don't worry about the real football, September and October, November, December. Don't worry about that.
Yeah.
Just keep winning the offseason and your fans will be fine.
Exactly. Chicago knows.
So every free agent podcast we come on here and we basically say free agency sucks. Yep. It's a bunch of fake numbers and fake important
those contracts
narratives.
Are ridiculous. Most of them are 1 year or 2 year contracts.
Yep. You know, guaranteed doesn't mean you will get the money.
Be fully guaranteed.
Yes, be fully guaranteed to mean that. And then every team has shored up that position by signing this player that the other team didn't want and needed to get rid of because they need to shore up the position and get another player.
Yeah. You know, it makes perfect sense. Yeah. In each team's head, it makes perfect sense.
I will say Chicago definitely put like the big name offensive lineman on there. They really played to us, the podcasters, Joe Tooney, looking at these guys like, oh,
they found names.
Yeah.
They traded for them instead of just signing them. I mean, there's a couple, I think one of them was signed. 2 of them were traded for.
Okay. Right. You're right.
So they're investing a lot of capital into this.
Yeah. So they know what to do, but ultimately the important thing for Chicago is just whether the coaching staff is going to turn this thing around or not. That'll make the offensive line look good or bad.
Will Ben Johnson be the solution? So, and we'll talk head coaches on a different podcast, but,
when we get into the summer, we'll preview every team. So.
Yeah.
But I think today, we're going to talk Seahawks and a lot of Seahawks because we are Seahawks fans.
Yes, we are. Born and bred Washingtonians.
And can you remember a year where we were like the bells of March? Like maybe not in the way that we're talking about Chicago, or we will later talk about the Commanders as like winning the offseason, but we have been the headline.
Yeah.
Like everything, every day.
I can't remember the hype since like Holmgren came in and we got Hasselbeck. Mm-hmm. And that's like late 90s. So it's been a while since we were like, oh, these guys are the ones making the splash, going for the wins.
We traded Geno Smith. We traded DK Metcalf. We released Tyler Lockett. Then we signed Sam Darnold. These are like each consecutive days.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like it was, whoa.
Yeah. And then we signed Cooper Kupp.
And we also signed DeMarcus Lawrence.
Yeah.
So Dexter Lawrence. A lot of crazy stuff going on for the Seahawks. And let's just start with the first domino to fall, which was Geno Smith traded to the Las Vegas Raiders.
Reuniting with Pete Carroll.
Yeah, for a 3rd round pick. We could talk both Seahawks and Raiders side of this, but I guess the first thing I'm just dying to know, what did you think when you saw this? Were you relieved? Were you confused?
I was grateful we finally got rid of Geno. I mean, anybody that looks at the stats goes, Geno Smith, he's got to be a top 10 quarterback, or he's like an upper tier quarterback. He's veteran. And I'm like, you watch the games, you see some of those picks he throws, and you're like, what was he even looking at?
Yeah.
And they always blame the pressure. He gets sacked too much. I mean, I've seen this guy make some boneheaded throws. He doesn't win in the clutch. So I was perfectly fine. At least getting a 3rd round pick back for him was surprising to me, because usually you see somebody that's kind of paid already.
Yeah,
they get traded, so it's like compensation. It's like a 5th rounder or something. But I think getting a 3rd was good for me. I thought that was nice.
I think those stats helped get the 3rd.
Yeah,
because like he technically set the record for most passing yards for a Seahawk.
Yeah.
He needed that 17th game, and he needed the whole 17th game to do it, to pass up most of Russell Wilson's 4,000-yard season. It's like Geno very, very much needed the 17th game to break that record. I cannot emphasize that enough.
Yeah.
But that got him, that like raised his value. I'm pretty happy with a 3rd round return on a quarterback who wasn't going to take us to a Super Bowl anyway. That's what I hear the most from Seahawks fans over the course of this week. We weren't going to win a Super Bowl with Geno Smith, so we might as well have gotten something for him.
That's what I was thinking. Plus, he was costing us $40 million a year or something like that, so we end up paying less for Darnold. But,
we'll be talking about Darnold in a bit.
We'll get there, but, to me, he wasn't going to win us a Super Bowl. He was hardly even making it to the playoffs. No. Obviously, we didn't last year.
Yeah.
He was wild card, just floating around there. He's good enough to get you through like a 500 season.
Yeah.
He's a competent quarterback. But we're looking for championships. We're looking to make runs. We got a new coach. He's young. He's dynamic.
Yeah.
Like we gotta build something here.
Yeah. And I think that was peak competence for Geno Smith. That was the prime of his career right there. Good for him. It's a great story that it happened at all.
Oh yeah.
But again, it was 9-8, 9-8, and 10-7.
Yeah. And just the red zone, man.
Yeah.
Last year, the red zone itself, I'm just like, oh, get rid of this guy.
It was
I was calling for it mid-season.
Well, the system could be blamed, but then I don't know. Geno is such a reflection of the system. He does not elevate anything.
Yeah,
and that's what happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm glad we got something back for him.
Yeah, and we did right by him too. He doesn't want to be part of a rebuild, so we got rid of him.
Yeah.
Then the next day, get rid of DK Metcalf. So you could actually see all this coming because DK Metcalf started throwing a fit like 2 days before. I mean, he had just going off.
Oh, yeah.
Demanding a trade. Like, so he must have been hearing about these things coming down the pipeline. Geno going somewhere, Lockett being released. So he had been throwing a fit for a while. And I am so freaking happy to not have to root for DK Metcalf anymore. DK Metcalf, suck it, man.
Yeah.
You are a freaking little baby. I'm tired of watching you on my TV screen.
I knew this was what you were going to say. I
can't wait to watch Steelers games where there's a fight on both sides of the field. Yep. Pickens and some cornerback and Metcalf and some cornerback. And whoever the Steelers quarterback will be has no one to throw to except for Freiermuth.
DK, far too emotional.
Yeah.
And we've been watching him. He was here 6 years or something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, he gets some
the
stats.
AJ Brown class.
Yeah, I think so.
And the Debo class.
Yeah. So he's getting up there in age. Mm-hmm. Obviously, you were going to have to pay him top tier money. Mm-hmm. He came in. We were like, oh, what a specimen.
Yeah.
He's going to be Terrell Owens. That's what we were expecting. He didn't play up to that. Mm-mm. He makes good splash plays. He never really figured it out over the middle.
Yeah.
And he's still good, but he never blossomed a superstar.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
I mean, I will own up. I didn't think he was even gonna blossom into what he did.
Okay,
I thought he would be pure skill but no technique.
Okay,
Terrell Owens didn't even enter my mind.
Okay,
at least
I feel like that was the hope.
That was the hope. But I mean, he did get the technique got a little bit better, but just the details for DK Metcalf, I think, continue to plague him.
Yeah.
You don't know that for sure, but it would explain why he's only really performing in certain game plans and certain scenarios. He's not consistent.
You can tell when we played divisional opponents that they knew what DK had.
Yeah.
Just don't let him beat you over the top.
Yeah.
Don't let him run a 15-yard in. Make him keep doing those little 5-yard curls on the outside. Mm-hmm. Contain him over there.
I will say it was at least fun to watch, especially his best stretches. We've never had that.
Oh, yeah.
All of our receivers have been technicians.
Yeah.
So we're Seahawks fans. We're kind of we had Largent, we had, Blades, we had Galloway. Galloway's probably the closest.
Yeah.
But Ingram, Doug Baldwin, Lockett technician. It was nice to get a true cover me. I don't care.
Yeah.
Throw me the ball. I'm going to get it. And he did. It was nice to have that guy for a little bit. So to kind of end it on a positive note, he did make a lot of plays that I got up and cheered for. Whoa!
Oh, yeah. He gave us some good memories. We will be thankful for your years of service, but we just never made it to where we wanted to with you. It was time to move on.
Yeah. And I will enjoy watching this Pittsburgh team with Pickens and Metcalf.
Yeah.
I just can't wait. That's must-see TV to me.
I mean, Pickens is 14 also, so I don't know
what's going to happen there.
Metcalf might have a new number.
Oh, Okay, interesting.
So we'll have to see. I'm glad we got a second back for it.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was a fair compensation, especially with them having to pay him the contract that they did.
Thank you for saying that. People are like, why couldn't we get a first? No one would give a first for DK. It's not just DK. It's the contract. It's the cap space.
Yeah.
That factors in.
People don't get the business side of the football here.
Yeah.
They just see the stats and they go, oh, yeah, first rounder, duh.
Yeah. Just think about the negotiation when we say we want a first and the team says, we know you can't afford him and you're fine. We're not giving you a first. Good luck paying him. And then Seahawks like, whoa, hold up here.
Yeah.
We'll make it a second. And like, okay, now you're talking.
Yeah.
We'll pay him. Like that's what happens.
And we'll take that. We'll keep building depth, offensive line, secondary, whatnot. So that's a good spot to have.
Yeah. So while I don't think a second and a third are going to replace Geno and DK Metcalf.
Not immediately.
I do think this is the right thing to be doing. It's the right time to be doing it. Going into a second year with a coach who seems to have his head on his shoulders right, is probably going to be here the year after this too, because he's getting a go here.
Yeah.
Mike McDaniel. So, and then we cut Tyler Lockett. I think the next day was this. I don't know what order this was in exactly, but
I feel like Lockett's the one I'm going to miss the most. Not because of how he played, but I think he was a stand-up guy. He made great plays, toe tapping, technician, opposite of Metcalf.
Crazy touchdowns.
Never heard a peep out of him negative. Still looks like a little boy.
Yeah. Anthony had told me one time he saw him in an elevator with like a backpack and thought he was a little kid, and it was Tyler Lockett.
Yeah, right? But he made so many nice little plays that I remember, and I was just like, man, I'm going to miss that. Like, his service to the Seahawks, I appreciate more than Geno's and Metcalf's.
Oh, by
far.
I mean, he may be on the Seahawks all-time team. He may be the wide receiver 2, because he is second in yards all-time Seahawks.
Okay.
He is second touchdowns all-time Seahawks.
Behind Largent.
Yeah, behind Largent. And well behind Largent, but who isn't?
I know, right?
I mean, Steve Largent was one of the leaders in all categories when he retired in the late 80s. So, but Lockett is number 2 in all those categories. And I like, who else would be the other all-time Seahawk receiver? I think it would be Lockett. Maybe Baldwin.
Baldwin's a maybe.
Galloway was here. He flashed bright.
Yeah, but we let go of him early. Kind of like Golden Tate.
Yeah, he was only 5 years. Yeah.
I would say Lockett's there, man.
Brian Blades, but those are some dark years. But he did put up some numbers. But I think it's Largent and Lockett.
Yeah, especially if you're going hometown favorites. Yeah.
So,
and but he's getting up there. It was time to let him go, especially with us getting rid of Geno. We got a new coordinator, new coach.
Well,
he's like 32.
Yeah. It's funny. I was talking to a Seahawk fan who said they were annoyed with Tyler Lockett because he was just falling down. He didn't want to fight for any more yards. And so while I don't think that's like a motivation, I don't think that he's ascribing it to be like Tyler Lockett didn't want to play for this team anymore. Some people have to do that, like emotionally. They have to like turn on the player.
Oh, yeah.
Just like I did for DK Metcalf moments ago. But but for this, I think like Lockett is so small that he just made the decision, if I'm going to keep playing in the NFL, I just go down when I catch it.
I don't know what he's talking about. He's always kind of done that.
Yeah, you're kind of right.
He's not a fight for the yards kind of dude. He's pulling an Isaac Bruce. He's going down, like, we're just name dropping all over the place.
I know.
Marvin Harrison, he's not going after the catch, unless he's wide open.
Yeah, right. So, and he's such a small guy. I have no problem with it.
Yeah.
Okay, so we got rid of Geno. We got rid of
Metcalf.
DK. We got rid of Metcalf or Lockett. Me and you and Dad are in a text thread saying, clearly it's a rebuild year. Yeah. We're just gonna maybe we'll just tank and get one of the quarterbacks in the 2026 NFL draft.
Yeah,
it has to be better because this year's draft sucks for quarterbacks and for everything. And then we signed Sam Darnold, the prized free agent of the cycle.
Just shocked.
The big money guy. We didn't quite give him the high end money that people could have expected for Darnold, but it's still like we're going to contend now type of move.
Oh yeah,
or at least it felt like it. What did it feel like to you?
I was shocked.
Yeah,
because when I was looking at it before free agency, you're thinking there's all these quarterback hungry teams. Us getting rid of Geno and then signing Sam Darnold like 2-3 days later. I was just like, wow, where did this come from?
Yeah.
Why was this in the game script?
And how is Darnold different than
and how is this going to help us? Like, it's the same type of dude, just like, but maybe 7 years younger. Sam Darnold's 28.
Yeah, he's young.
Like he's Patrick Mahomes' age. Like,
wow, that's crazy.
He's young.
That's crazy. He came in young.
Yeah,
he came in that 2018 class, right? So.
But he has one good year. I like what we signed him for. I definitely thought he was going somewhere else.
Yeah,
because there's only like 2 quarterbacks that are going to get drafted.
So it's 3-year, $150 million.
I think it's less than that.
3-year. Let me check it.
3-year, like 100.
Okay. 3-year, $100 million.
We're paying him $30 million a year, basically.
Okay, and $55 million is guaranteed. But again, it's the Baker Mayfield contract. $10 million of that dollars is not guaranteed if he doesn't make the team next year, or like we can get out of it. Again, really stretching what the word guaranteed means.
We're going to fight about this forever, I think. Somebody has to change that language.
It doesn't mean that he gets the money for sure. That's what you think it means, but it's not.
Yeah.
Anyway, but so that deal is not necessarily like...
We're not committed.
Yeah. We could get out after this year.
Yeah. We definitely could get out.
So do you think...
But I mean... I guess I like the system that he's coming into. We got to mention that we got Clint Kubiak coming in as offensive coordinator. Right. He's already coached with Darnold in San Francisco. Mm-hmm. So that was kind of when Darnold started to figure things out. So he's kind of running the same thing from Minnesota with O'Connell.
Yeah,
Now he comes here. So he's not changing too much. But everybody saw the last 2 games that Sam Darnold played. Mm-hmm. And they were god-awful.
Yeah, and like, oh my God. It was so bad. And now that you said that, I'm almost worried. The thing I was going to say that helps, like maybe the Vikings offense just got figured out, Yeah. But then you just
said we're going to basically run the same thing. Yeah.
But like, they were so bad. But that's also why we were able to get him for this contract.
Yeah.
This, if he had finished the season strong with the hype that he had going into Week 18 matchup against the Lions before he just... For 8 quarters, 4 with the Lions, 4 versus the wild card game against the Rams.
Yeah.
He completely tanked his stock.
He looked awful.
But if he hadn't, he would have gotten like a Kirk Cousins type of deal.
Yeah.
Like, just insane. So in a way, that's why we have him. Because he doesn't.
Yeah. And I think I'm a little higher on him this year than you are, but I'm not as high as a lot of people. Like Seahawks are going to the playoffs. Okay. Great signing. This will fill the hole. Sam Darnold's competent. As long as they fill up a little offensive line here and there, Darnold will be great. I'm in the middle.
Okay.
This feels like it's just a Geno replacement. We're still going to go like 9-8, 10-7, maybe even a little worse than that. It depends on the offensive line, what we do in the draft.
I am thinking a little worse than that.
You are?
And obviously I'll be rooting for way better, but the simplest answer is the best answer. Sam Darnold is not as bad as he looked on the Adam Gase Jets for 3 years.
Yeah.
But he's also not as good as he was looking with Justin Jefferson and the Kevin O'Connell, offense. So he's in the middle of that. And the middle of that, like he wasn't even that good last year. He was kind of middle of the pack quarterback. So in between the Gase, like horrific bust and the, overachieving O'Connell year, or at least, most of the year. If that's what we're getting halfway between those 2 points. That's a bad quarterback.
Yeah.
And that's what we're paying for.
Yeah, I know, right?
And that's just, to me, I don't know why we did this. I just don't get it. We should have just rolled out Sam Howell and...
Oh, no. Nobody wants to see Sam Howell out there.
And taking the number 1 overall pick next year.
Yeah. I mean, you were going full tank.
Yeah, but no team ever really wants to do that. Because the number 1 overall pick's not going to always save you, so you don't want to place all your eggs in that basket. But I wanted us to.
To me, I think it's a decent option. Like it's not flashy as most people are thinking it is. The nice thing about us compared to the Vikings last year is we have a decent running game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
we got Walker and Charbonnet,
and I think the defense is getting better too. Yeah,
so we can like keep him around to like Darnold's gonna have other weapons. He's definitely not the focus. Yeah, and the Vikings line their offensive line wasn't good at the end of the season.
Yeah, it was really good first 8 games.
Early season Darnold, that's kind of what we're hoping for when Aaron Jones was healthy and they can play action more. You still got Njigba, who's not Justin Jefferson, but, you still got weapons out there.
Though. It's after that. There's nothing after that.
I know.
That's bad.
So, I'm a little worried about this.
Yeah. Well, who are we drafting, though, too?
Yeah. But I'm thinking, as far as stopgap, we're paying him $30 million a year, which is cheap for a quarterback. That's nice. It's basically a 1 year if we want to get rid of him. If we do bad this year, we can just start tanking. It'd be perfectly fine.
Well, he did play well in the 2017 Rose Bowl.
That 2017 Rose Bowl will live in infamy.
You know who else played in the 2017 Rose Bowl? Saquon Barkley.
Yeah.
Okay, just won the Super Bowl.
Juju.
Yep. Chris Godwin. Yeah, there's a lot of great guys in that 2017 Rose Bowl. All right, so Seahawks, we almost don't even need to preview them. But
people are hyping this up far higher than they need to. Yeah. But, the one that is really getting hyped up, the last person to talk about, is Cooper Kupp. 32-year-old Cooper Kupp getting signed to the Seahawks.
Hometown boy back in Washington State.
For a fairly expensive contract for a 32-year-old. Hasn't played a full season for the last 3 years. So we're not getting the I won a Super Bowl with the Rams back in 2021. That's long in the past. He has lost a step. We're just bringing him as a veteran presence, a red zone option.
How is this different than Tyler Lockett? This is a part Geno and Lockett would have been fine. Darnold and Kupp are the same guy. Same group.
I think the only thing I like about this, because we haven't done this since even the Pete Carroll age, we are finally going to run motion and fake jet sweeps. We will finally get to do that because we have Cooper Kupp.
Okay.
We haven't ran motion for a decade and a half. We never try this. Tyler Lockett ain't doing that. DK ain't doing that. We didn't do it with Njigba.
Yeah. Not a lot of movement for those receivers.
Finally, we will adapt to the current NFL of actually using motion. And we need a veteran that knows how to do that because McVay, Rams coach, has been doing that forever.
Yeah.
And Cooper Kupp does it better than most.
Cooper Kupp isn't going to be playing week 4. If you look at Cooper Kupp's whole career, he stayed healthy really 1 year.
2021?
And he put up the best season of a receiver of this century. And so credit to him.
Yeah.
Every other year he goes down with something and he'll fight through it. He will fight through it. He's played some really hobbled, but fantasy football people know there's only one Cooper Kupp year.
Michael Thomas kind of Saints. Kind of that.
I would say Michael Thomas is even worse.
Worse, but that comparison.
Yeah. I was not pumped to see this signing. I
hope we draft people. Yeah. Still.
It's just shades of Hushmanzada, Deion Branch. Just the free agent Percy Harvin. The free agent receiver does not have fuzzies. Free agent receiver comes to Seattle. Not a lot of fuzzies from me.
They come to die.
Yeah, Jerry Rice. Ever heard of him?
Yeah, finished in Seattle.
Yeah, it just never seems to work out. It's just not my. Terrell Owens was here. Remember for a little bit,
right? No kidding. Jeez. So sorry, Cooper. You're coming into a bad situation. Yeah. I'm hoping he's just a teaching tool to Smith and Njigba to get more motion. He is a great blocker
type of thing. Yeah. Yes.
So I'm cool with that.
Yeah.
But I am, when you say it, he's not getting past week 4. I gotta agree. This guy never makes it through a season. I just hope his knowledge gets passed down to the other Seahawks receivers. This is why I'm hoping we draft somebody as well.
Yeah. Offensive weapons, I think we're going to draft them. A lot of people say offensive line, but it's a bad offensive line draft.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, is part of the elephant in the room. We've been talking for 20 minutes, but none of it matters if the offensive line doesn't play better. So it's all kind of up in the air.
Yeah. And they're
it's a new scheme, so it's hard to evaluate.
Yeah. They're always why aren't you putting more draft capital or into the offensive line? It's we have. Yeah. We've been doing that the last, 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
Just none of them have panned out.
Yeah. It's not just automatic. And you also don't not every year is the same amount of skill. So, all right.
But yeah, that's the Seahawks. There's a lot of changes.
A lot of change. And it was nice to really talk Seahawks because we follow that team so closely.
Yeah.
What else in 2025 free agency got your attention?
Justin Fields.
Justin Fields signed to the New York Jets, 2-year, $40 million. Not much for a quarterback.
Not much. I was shocked he went to the Jets. And didn't just stay with the Steelers. I thought for sure the Steelers were just like, learn behind Russell Wilson for a year. We'll keep you. Yeah. You'll be better at passing over the edges and whatnot. So clearly this Mike Tomlin saw something we don't want. And then once you get signed by the Jets, you're dead.
Yeah.
The Jets haven't made it to the playoffs since 2010. Justin Fields is the answer? Come on.
I mean, they're in denial.
Yeah.
The Jets are in such denial. And maybe, a Jet fan listening would be like, you guys are in denial, you Seahawk fans. But listen to me, Jet. You could have had Justin Fields for a 5th-round pick last year, and you didn't want him. Because the Bears were begging anything more than a 6th-round pick for this guy. And every team in the NFL, after watching Justin Fields start for 40 games, was like, not a 5th-rounder.
Yeah. You watch him playing after Pittsburgh after that.
Yeah.
He's done. All these teams have passed up on him.
Mm-hmm.
And the Jets are like, we just need somebody to fill in for a year.
So do you think, I obviously know where you're going with this, but the Jets are still in potential for drafting a quarterback this year?
If there were more quarterbacks, yes.
Mm-hmm.
They might draft somebody. The Jets are pretty stupid.
They are.
And they're GM down, ownership down.
Jet fan who listened to this, what the hell?
Yeah, why are they ragging on us? We're not enemies with the Seahawks.
Hey.
But this is just dumb because then anything I hear hype about, they're like, well, he's got Garrett Wilson. Oh, he's got Breece Hall to work with. And I'm just like, if Aaron Rodgers couldn't figure it out with those guys,
Justin Fields,
why do you think this is going to work?
Yeah. Justin Fields clearly is done.
Yeah.
At least in terms of can he be a franchise quarterback?
Yeah.
Because the whole league has spoken through their actions, and the Steelers have spoken through their actions, and that's a pretty trusted organization.
Yeah.
And then the fact that the Jets are signing him, to quote you, they're stupid. So Justin Fields is done, but there's a little Twilight thing here.
Yeah.
But they do, at least for Jets fans, they're done with Aaron Rodgers.
Oh, yeah.
It's their fault. Not Aaron Rodgers' fault that this happened. I was honestly part of the Sam Darnold news for Seahawks fans, and I'm sure a lot of other fan bases around here. Just thank God we don't have Aaron Rodgers on our team.
I know.
Come here and start running his Richard Nixon style mind games with the fans and the media. I
don't know who's going to sign him.
Yeah.
I really don't.
Well, he says he's going to, if he retires, and then you'll never hear from him again. Which
right.
I say to that, no, I will hear from you.
Yeah.
We will hear from you all the time.
You will be on the McAfee show even more.
Yeah. He will be doing something to get headlines. Probably swastika Nazi salutes, but something, even while he gets older.
Oh, yeah, right? Yeah. Just one of those Hall of Fame quarterbacks that just not popular in the public mind. Most Hall of Fame quarterbacks, no problem with them.
Well, Brett Favre kind of went that way, the not popular in the public mind.
Not while he was retiring, I guess.
Oh, yeah, no, you're right.
Yeah.
Favre was...
Eventually got the whole... Yeah. Whatever happened down in Mississippi, him stealing funds and stuff.
That was later.
Allegedly.
But yeah, you're right. He's not... Rodgers is not going to get, the swan song. That's just kind of rare. That's a good point. Even basketball players, even hated basketball players, Kobe... He got a swan song, and people did not like him in the middle of his career. Right? Derek Jeter, going to baseball. This is just, it is the Rodgers is it's the media presence and just his gaslighting.
Yeah.
Remember when he said, I can be back. I tore my Achilles, but you don't know anything. You're just the media. You don't tell me what to do. I can beat, human science. He basically said they don't know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
And then in December, he's condescending us. There's really no way to come back from an Achilles in 4 months. We're yeah, that's what we said. And you said
and you
said we don't know what the human body can do.
Yeah.
Anyway, Aaron Rodgers is gone. Justin Fields is there. Jets still suck. Let's talk Commanders.
Commanders,
they made a bunch of big moves.
Yeah.
They traded for Deebo Samuel.
Yes.
That was another one of those where, what was a 6th-round pick or 5th-round pick?
Yeah, I think it was a 6th.
Yeah, so the Deebo and 49ers had ran their course. Part of what the Commanders are getting out of this is taking the contract from the 49ers.
Yeah.
49ers very much needed that contract off of their books.
Yes.
This is probably one of the best possible landing spots I can see for Deebo.
I love it.
Yeah?
It's perfect. It's the opposite of Terry McLaurin.
Mm-hmm.
McLaurin's an outside receiver. He's, burning the edges. He's running outside of the hashes.
Yeah.
Debo is your underneath slot screen passes, exactly what they were missing last year.
Yes.
And another weapon just to kind of pick up first downs and not have to make big splash plays.
Perfect.
He fits in perfectly. I get that he's 29. He's going to cost a lot, but you're not paying Jaden Daniels yet.
Yeah. This is the fill-in for that rookie quarterback contract.
This is veteran receiver who's been there before. Perfect signing. Perfect trade.
I love it because if Debo can stay healthy, it's elite production. And that's a big if. That's same as kind of Cooper Kupp. Debo's really had one season where he's been elite, but he's not the focal point. He's not going to take that beating. They have McLaurin. This is a spread the ball offense. They've got a lot of speed that they're piping in here, and they probably shouldn't stop. Probably continue in the draft.
Oh yeah.
I love it. And then they traded for Larry Tunsil.
Yes.
So this is what you should be doing. You've got Jaden Daniels on the rookie contract. You don't just rest on your laurels because you made the NFC Championship last year.
Yeah.
You've got to
double down.
You've got to stay aggressive, pedal to the metal, and the Commanders are doing that. Yep. I love it.
I like what they're doing. And I like that they're doing it now that Dan Schneider is out of the office.
I know.
Doesn't own the team. This team is finally running their program right.
Yeah.
They're in win now mode. Good for Washington.
Yeah.
I love seeing the Commanders going for it again.
Yeah. And they're really kind of taking advantage of, all things being equal, maybe Debo and Laramie Tunsil shouldn't be leaving their teams.
Yeah.
But it's just kind of sometimes it's just run its course. Just their relationships with those organizations have just kind of built to they got both of them cheap. They bought low.
Oh yeah.
And if they both stay healthy and good, Commanders they're gonna have some hype this year.
I forgot about Larry Tunsil because it was he's in Houston. He was doing fine. Houston traded for him from the Dolphins.
Yep.
I thought this guy was 37. When I first heard it, I was like, oh great, they got a washed up offensive tackle.
Yeah, he's on his second team.
He's 31.
Yeah.
He's in his prime.
He was traded super young from Miami to Houston.
Yeah.
It is disorienting.
And I'm just like, man, that's a perfect fit for them. Now they have the backside of Jaden Daniels covered. It's perfect. Yeah,
great.
I love what they're doing. Good job, Commanders. I'm rooting for you.
So Commanders are doing well. Let's see. Devontae Adams signed with the Rams.
Yeah.
Interesting one. I would love to see.
People are hyped about this one.
Yeah. I don't think the Rams. I think Stafford is going to have a horrific year, and I think his body is going to give up on him, and this is the year.
Yeah.
But I am excited to see how high they can get Devontae Adams into the total touchdown career leaderboard,
right?
On Pro Football Reference. Let's keep it going.
Right. He's just chasing stats at this point.
Yeah, and I as a complete history nerd, that's what I love.
Yeah.
Get another go.
I just, I don't like it just because you're basically just getting an older Puka Nacua. Puka does the exact same things that Devontae Adams does. You're not really getting an A1, A1A, 1B.
Right.
And, Adams is 32, 33 now. He's slowing down a little bit. I know he did. Stat-wise, he did fine with the Jets last year just because Rodgers was peppering him. But
yeah, I guess I see Adams as a receiver that bridged that gap between 30 and 31 and 32. Some receivers fall off a cliff, and that's when it happens.
Yeah.
I think Kupp has fallen off that cliff. Julio Jones fell off that cliff. But I think Adams still got a few more, at least a couple seasons in him.
I think it's the year. He falls off, Stafford falls off.
Interesting.
Yeah. I'm not a big Rams fan this year, besides their defense.
Okay.
But, I guess we didn't mention, on the other side of the Seahawks trades is Geno going to the Raiders.
Oh, shoot. I meant to put that up there.
Lockett going to the Raiders.
Yeah.
Pete Carroll coaching the Raiders. They're just rolling it back, 5 years.
Honestly, what, Pete Carroll's 73?
Yeah, I think something like that. Yeah.
When has this ever worked?
I don't know what they're doing.
Yeah, it just reminds me kind of like when Joe Gibbs came back, and coached like or when even Mike Shanahan came back. I know both of these are Daniel Snyder, Washington Redskins examples, but it's just like, it's like
there's a reason you kind of faded off.
Yeah.
I think it's to bring the light back to Las Vegas, like just get some optimism going into the building, because their past few coaches have just been so just not like positive.
Yeah, Antonio Pierce wasn't even really a coach.
Yeah,
he was just kind of almost like a puppet leader for the players. It was almost like a mutinous
the puppet leader.
The players committed mutiny and installed this puppet who had no idea what he was doing. And then now the players have been humbled a little bit. So yeah, I think Pete Carroll, what do you have to lose if you're the Raiders organization? Let's get some stability. I think they are going to have kind of a fun year.
Yeah,
because they got Pete, they got Geno. So you have both somebody in the high position of head coach, but you have a quarterback who are going to bring the same message, same kind of culture together.
Yep.
That can go a long way, especially if they're jiving with Max Crosby.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's probably going to be a fun year for the Raiders. And to your point, you explained it the best that I've heard so far, which is this is kind of like a reset. Let's just get some semblance of real football into the Vegas locker room for the first time.
I feel like since they've been in Vegas, they haven't had that.
It's been a circus.
Yeah. I love that division. Just the old veteran coaches, Reed, Harbaugh, Sean Payton, and Pete Carroll.
Wow.
Just just old.
And so we have 2 Pete Carroll, Jim Harbaugh matchups.
Yep.
Again.
Chargers,
these guys cannot
There'll be a Monday night game like that.
There should be. From Stanford, USC to Seattle, San Francisco, and now
that's why
Chargers, Raiders.
That's why Pete took the job.
Probably.
He's like, Harbaugh's on the Chargers. I'm coming back.
Come on, man. I will say, my favorite thing about Pete Carroll was that he never wanted to stop coaching the Seahawks, right? We know that. He was shoved off in the most corporate way. No, he's not fired. He's just going to the sky to take this position.
Yeah.
And then they asked him in the Raiders press conference, when you were fired, and he goes, well, I wasn't fired, remember? He's bringing all that stuff up.
We just let him go. Yeah.
Raiders fans, you're lucky to have Pete. Great press conference.
Oh yeah.
Great press. It's just too late, I
think they'll have at least one good year. It might not be this year, but maybe next year. He usually brings culture and gets the underdog playing for the underdog.
I think it's this year. I'm actually going to have some hope for them this year.
Okay.
Plunky, the high of it.
Yeah.
Pete Carroll, that energy.
Just winning.
It works early.
Yeah. Winning those stupid games, getting the defense to play better than they should, things like that.
All right, we got about 2 minutes. What other free agent? Oh, you wanted to talk about Myles Garrett?
Oh, R.I.P. Myles Garrett. I'm so sorry. I know you took the money, which I get, but you're not winning a ring. You're stuck in Cleveland. You might as well start demanding a trade right now.
He already demanded a trade and then signed that contract.
Then he's making $40 million a year, which is impressive.
Yeah.
But dude, Cleveland just absolutely ruined their chance. They had this in the bag when they drafted Garrett, they drafted Mayfield.
I know,
those 2 years, and they got Chubb, and they just blew it. And then we're only talking 6 years later. So, Garrett's going to run out his career, be on a loser forever. Mm-hmm. He's just one of those Hall of Famers that just never gets to where he wants to get. And, at least he got paid, but still, you took the money instead of the chance to win. So, you're going to have to live with that.
And they offered him enough. And you know what? This is what Cleveland did to Deshaun Watson.
Yeah.
They offered him enough money to not go to Atlanta or New Orleans where he wanted to go. They're just overpaying in a panic.
Yeah. The classic Cleveland, man. They are the worst franchise in football for a long time.
Yeah.
I feel bad for those Clevelanders, but eventually they'll have some hope again.
Best free agent pickup, DJ Reed to the Lions.
Oh, yeah.
I have been on a little bit of a vendetta. I think DJ Reed's actually better than Sauce Gardner.
Ooh.
Like, that Sauce Gardner gets to do the stuff he was able to do because DJ Reed was on the other side. And now, because they were both on the Jets.
Yeah.
And now DJ Reed goes to the Lions. And I think they desperately need that. And I think this guy's got swagger. And I think that's going to be one of those things that works out well.
I like that.
And people are saying, oh, like Aaron Glenn's not there anymore. Like, oh no, the Lions defense isn't going to be good. I know, but the defense hadn't been good the whole time Aaron Glenn was there.
Yeah.
It was bad every year.
Who is now coaching the Jets.
And so we shall close where we began. The Jets suck.
Sorry, Jets. You're going to have to wait another year. You've already lost this year.
All right, my name's Miles.
I'm Kirk.
Good night.